Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Rostenberg again from BeyondMTHFR.com. Today we're talking about the stress-gut connection and its relationship to the methylation cycle and genetic polymorphisms. And this is the part 2 video covering this subject. And really what this topic is all about is how genes we inherit predispose us to leaky gut and other symptoms that seem to flare up and get worse when we experience high stress or chronic stress. And that's the goal of this presentation, is to help explain why that happens and recognize the symptoms of that process. So this is a slide from the part 1 video, a quick review that science is now pretty clear that stress hormones, adrenaline, catecholamines cause rapid growth of bacteria. If you do a stool test and you see a high amount of quote-unquote non-pathogenic E. coli and other gram-negative bacteria, what you're very likely seeing is the increasing growth of those bacteria due to the effects of stress. So stress causes the release of adrenaline, and half of the adrenaline that we release goes into the gut. This adrenaline gets into the gut and allows the bacteria living there to grow quickly. This slide is another review slide from the last video, but it's such a good example showing basically that the dark red color here represents the increase in growth of the bad bugs due to the stress of the host. So the bugs that live within us are always looking for signals as to our state of mind and how healthy we are. And if we give the bugs signals that we're under stress, they take that as a cue to engage in high growth. And this can make us sick and cause anxiety and all the other symptoms that we talk about in the part 1 video. So if you haven't seen the first video, I recommend you take some time to check that out. We're looking at a different set of SNPs today. We're going to dig in and kind of look at how the IgA SNPs can impact our symptoms, symptoms that we experience or that our loved ones are going through. And you're going to find as we go through this process in this video and the next video that IgA is really important. So all these genes here in the IgA category from the MTHFR support variant report are going to predispose an individual to leaky gut symptoms. So when stress occurs in individuals' lives who have these genes, the odds of them having a gut reaction go up. The reason why is SIgA is like IgE. You may have heard of that, IgE or IgD, IgM. It's an immunoglobulin. It's just a part of our immune system that our body makes. What IgA is very important for is that it defends our mucosal barrier. It's the ultimate immunoglobulin for the gut, and it protects our mouth all the way down to the other end, and it's the largest of all those systems. So it's the largest humoral immune system of the body. It's real important, guys. It's just like the picture of these soldiers defending their ground. SIgA protects our gut lining. It prevents antigens from entering our body. It prevents things from leaking in, okay? If something does leak in, IgA also neutralizes toxins from viruses and dead bacteria. That's what this means right here. Virus and endotoxin neutralization. That means viruses and dead bacteria that are leaking into our gut are neutralized by IgA without causing any damage to our body. So it's a beautiful system that we have to protect us. We want to make sure it's working as well as possible. A quick review again of the other SNPs that we often speak of, but these are very, very problematic SNPs for increasing the response to stress. The ACE gene involves breaking down angiotensin, and that's a stress hormone that increases fight or flight. COMT, we know they break down adrenaline. They also break down estrogen. MAO, enzyme A, that breaks down adrenaline as well. So MTHFR and the glutamic acid decarboxylase the GAD gene. So when you see these genes all present in the same person, this person is predisposed. They have a very high likelihood, they have a tendency to feel the effects of stress in ways that other people just never will. So when you have these genes here, these stress genes, you're going to have higher levels of adrenaline in your body. All things being equal, you will have adrenaline longer, you will have adrenaline in higher amounts. Now, that will give your gut more of a stress, okay? And if you also have these genes, then you're going to be more likely to have leaky gut. Leaky gut is due to stress hormones, okay? We already know this, and research 2011 proves it as well. Your immune system lives inside lymph nodes, but in the gut they're called Peyer's patches. That's just the name they have. Those are your lymph nodes in your gut. When you have cortisol, glucocorticoids, and catecholamines, adrenaline, repeated stress favors the entry of pathogens through the intestine. What they're saying is IgA producing cells are decreased when cortisol and adrenaline is high. Okay? IgA goes down when stress hormones go up. If you have these genes, you will have higher levels of stress hormones. Therefore, you probably will suffer from a tendency to have a leaky gut, which is why you got to be more careful with your diet and work with practitioners to understand how to get this figured out for your individual needs. The problem is not just with IgA, it's that stress as a whole reduces blood flow to the GI tract. So anything that stresses us out changes where the blood flows in our body. That's just baked in the cake. It's how we're built. And when we experience stress, when our body is full of cortisol and adrenaline, the blood does not flow very well to our organs of digestion and detoxification. This study proved that by basically having individuals ride a bicycle really fast, which is stressful, and they noticed that the blood flow into the gut went down by as much as 50%. So you don't want the blood flowing to your gut to get cut off long, because without oxygen your gut cannot function, and that will itself cause a leaky gut. Another study basically proved the same thing. Heavy physical exercise causes gastrointestinal signs and symptoms. It causes hypoxia to the gut. The same thing happens when we're under stress psychologically. The same thing happens when we're under stress chemically. So stress of any kind will shut off blood flow to the gut. You're looking at a normally functioning gut here, and now you're looking at a gut where the small intestine, large intestine is losing oxygen. Not a good situation. Many patients of mine are dealing with GERD, acid reflux, and just general stomach pain and discomfort. Some of them even have ulcers. Well, here's how ulcers form due to stress. When you have stress in your body, I've just mentioned how the blood flow to the digestive tract is cut off. Well, the stomach is part of that. And when the blood vessels that supply the stomach spasm and get smaller, it causes a loss of the mucosal layer, the protective layer of the stomach, so that now the digestive process itself starts to digest the stomach, causing an ulcer, or certainly causing irritation of the gastric lining. Either way, there will be discomfort and pain in that individual. This is mainly caused by the angiotensin converting enzyme, angiotensin. So people with the ACE genes really got to be careful with their digestion, because they're more predisposed to having poor blood flow to their GI tract, and it can be fixed. Just that's your tendency going forward. Several patients of mine also deal with problems with circulation. So if you have a tingling or numbness in your hands, that's a neurological problem. Okay, when your hands fall asleep and you feel pins and needles, that's a nerve being irritated, so it has some kind of neurological basis. If your hands turn white, you're looking at the loss of blood flow. Okay, loss of blood flow makes your hands cold and changes their color to pale. So what they figured out is that stress hormones reduces blood flow not only to the gut and to the kidneys and to the liver, but also to the skin. So individuals with Raynaud's phenomenon, you're just seeing the outward sign of excess stress hormones affecting their body. We have ways of lowering stress hormones clinically that are very safe and effective, and it usually causes a complete remission or a great reduction in those Raynaud's symptoms. And so that's proof again that when you reduce your stress and you manage it correctly with the right nutrients, that all systems of your body work better. Just as a quick review, the most important stress-related SNPs are these, in my opinion. These SNPs conspire to cause higher levels of adrenaline, higher levels of cortisol in your body. Now, people with higher levels of adrenaline also have a good memory, and they're more focused, and they can also be very intelligent people, because that's a benefit to have more stress hormones in your body sometimes, okay? But it also can work against you. And when you're going to be more susceptible to stress, you have to know that about yourself, and basically take proactive steps to defending yourself against that. We talked a little bit today also about IgA genes. The IgA is the most important part of our immune system to preventing leaky gut. If you have these SNPs in an individual and you have these as well, you're looking at someone who has to be very careful with their diet. This is one of the explanations why individuals with these genes, like myself, just cannot get away with eating whatever they want. Those days are gone. So you have to be selective, you have to be careful, and eat the food that your body does well with in order to nourish yourself and grow stronger. So again, thank you for listening. Stay tuned for part 3. We're going to go a little bit more in depth on the IgA, but you can see from this video how different SNPs affect our body, and having digestive issues and irritable bowel pain in your gut is most often a manifestation of too many stress hormones in your system in a chronic basis. And if you have any questions or comments about that and would like my help with anything, please reach out and send us an email. Thanks so much.